Instagram is Brooklyn TV coming at you. I wanted to do a review on Catfish Season 6, Episode 3, Danny and Rosa. Okay, let's just jump right into it. Danny is a young man. He's from Puerto Rico. He moved to Orlando. I didn't catch Danny's age, but he's young, like 25, 26. Danny happened to be on Facebook. He saw this pretty Hispanic young lady named Rosa. So he reached out to Rosa. Rosa had 3 pages on Facebook. The first page, he didn't get a response. The second page, he didn't get a response. But the third page, Rosa responded. And he messaged her on there, on Facebook. And then they, started talking and texting. And then Danny was saying, how, he wanted to have kids with Rosa. He wanted to marry Rosa. All of this craziness. Now, here's my thing. Why would you want to marry this person and you've never met? I mean, yeah, you're talking and texting and you know what the person looks like, but you haven't met in person. It doesn't make any sense. You don't have kids with somebody you never met. I digress. So, Neve and Max come to Florida. They go to Orlando, Florida. And Danny is showing all the photos and the messages that he has from Rosa. So then Danny and Neve and Max they start doing their research because Danny emailed them the photos that he had of Rosa and he sent over the phone number that they talk and text on. They did an image search. The picture comes back to a lady named Natalie. Okay. So it's obviously not Rosa in the picture. Then they do they trace the telephone number. It comes up to somebody named Yenny. Then they try to find out who Rosa is. So then they find out that Rosa is friends with Brandy, who was on Catfish years ago. She catfished somebody. She lives in Dallas, Texas. So they reach out to Brandy, and Brandy says, "I don't know Rosa." So then Brandy looks at her Facebook and she says, "Okay, I see that she added me as a friend, but I've never spoken to this person. We've never interacted on Facebook." So then they bring all this information back to Danny, and he's shocked. He wants to find out who he's really talking to. So then they contact Rosa, and Rosa had an attitude. And Rosa's like, "Oh yeah, I'm who I say I am," and just talking like real crazy on the phone. And then Rosa admitted to not being who she said she was, but she said, "Yes, I will meet. I want to meet Danny." So then they said, "Are you in Orlando?" And then Rosa said, "No, I'm in Connecticut." So they went and they called Danny, and Danny says, "Oh, okay, I'll go out to Connecticut to meet Rosa." So they go out to Connecticut, and Neve goes into the house, and Rosa is crying, and she's saying, "I'm scared," And then Neve is like, "Well, no, just come outside, talk to Danny, just let's get everything out in the open." When the person came outside with Neve, it was a man. Yes, people. Rosa was a man. And he looked terrible. He looked like 300 pounds. He looked nasty. He looked crazy. He had like a crazy look in his eyes. He looked like he don't leave the house, like he stay in the house all day. He just looked totally crazy. And then Danny was in shock. He's like, "Well, how could you do this? Why would you pretend to be a woman? And you're clearly not a woman." So then he said, "I was being bullied in high school. And the guy's name is Jose. And Jose said, I created this page when I was in ninth grade. He's 26 now. And they're like, "Do you know Natalie?" He's like, "Yeah. She was the one who bullied me in high school." And then Danny was like, "I'm not here for this. This is bullcrap." And Danny went in the car. And Neve was left talking to Jose. And then Jose said, he was molested as a kid, and he was depressed, from that, and he turned to drugs to, dull those feelings. And then Danny, Jose started crying, and he's like, I hate myself and all this other stuff. But here's my thing. Why is Jose crying? You're the one that started this bullcrap. If anything, it should be Danny crying because he was on national TV being embarrassed. Danny not gay. He's a normal person. I digress. So the next day, they go to Jose's house. And they're like, well, who were we talking on the phone to? Because it was a woman's voice. And then Jose said, I could do different voices. He took acting in high school. And he started talking in the woman's voice. So that's how Danny didn't know it was a man. So then, Jose starts telling Danny, he was molested as a kid. He turned to drugs, et cetera, et cetera. And then Danny was like, you need to focus on you. Just deal with yourself, get yourself right. And then Danny said, can I share a prayer with you? And then Danny prayed for Jose. He said the prayer in Spanish. And I was here for that because Jose really needed prayer and he needed counseling from a psychiatrist. So, I was just glad that even though that Jose catfished Danny, he still prayed for him and reached out to this person. And then when they did the update 5 months later, Jose looked way better. He lost some weight. He moved out of his parents' house. He has his own place. He has a better job. He found a boyfriend. He's doing great. Danny is not on Facebook anymore. He's doing great. Everybody's doing great. Catfish was something. I was really here for that episode because I was not expecting it to be a man. I thought it was gonna be like a woman, maybe 300-400 pounds. I knew she wasn't gonna look like the picture, But that was a real shock. Catfish went back to how it's supposed to be when the person turns out not to be who they say they are. That's fun. I really like this episode. Jose was a person who really needed counseling. He needed prayer. He needed everything. Okay, that Jose. Danny, he didn't know what was going on. He was fooled. He was really catfished. And, that's pretty much it, guys. Tell me what you thought about this episode. Catfish comes on Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. So I hope next week is as juicy as this week. And this is your girl, Miss Brooklyn TV. Peace.